I was going to say welcome back to another Premier Division show, but obviously at the moment it's the Premier Division and European show. No JP today. He'll be back. Should be back for the prediction show. He's not about today. So I said I'd crack on and do this video. We'll start off with Shamrock Rovers and their trip to Vikingur Reykjavik in the Champions League. That was a 0-0 draw last Tuesday. I watched this game. I watched it alongside the Euros, to be honest. I watched this on television, actually. Had the Euros on the laptop. But to be honest, I was watching this a lot more. I think it's a good result for Shamrock Rovers. They were obviously beaten here in Iceland last year and they were knocked out. I think their setup in this game was right, I felt. I think in the first half they limited Vikingur to very few chances. Poles made a save that hit off the post. After that, can't remember too many good chances that the Icelandic side had in that half. Did most of the ball, of course, but they were passing it sideways for most of the half, and Shamrock Rovers were in complete control of what they were doing in the game. A couple of openings as well, did a couple of opportunities to break, which they'd be disappointed with. That they may should have done better in the first half in that regard when they had the opportunity to break. But all in all, set up very well in that first half in particular. Limited them to not really many chances at all, and had quite a strong team out. Now the fitness levels, you got to question the fitness levels of some of the players, as in, you know, with so many injuries they've had and so many players have come back in at different times, they're going to be at different levels, in my opinion, of fitness, certainly of match fitness. But to get Jack Byrne, Gary O'Neill, Dylan Watts all in the same team is a big plus for Stephen Bradley, especially with the games coming thick and fast now in terms of the cup game against Bohemians and obviously the second leg here in Tala as well. But in the second half, I thought, to be honest, that Rovers were fairly comfortable also in the second half, to be honest with you. And Vikingur, again, didn't create many chances. In fact, they're running out of ideas, to be honest. And Rovers grew into it as an attacking force as such. Johnny Kenny obviously came on and he got through. Good chance, shot just wide. But then we had the red card later on, didn't we, to Darren Nugent, the second yellow. I think this was harsh for me. Yellow card for diving there. Don't know if anyone's seen it, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Just picks up the ball in his own half, goes to drive at the ball, cuts across the defender as he should, feels a bit of a nudge, goes down. Did he exaggerate? Yeah, of course he did. But is it a second yellow for diving? Absolutely not. If you're giving that for diving, Jesus, lads, you'd have don't know how many yellows and red cards you'd have in a match. Very disappointing. And you thought maybe they could be under pressure here in the last moments of the game. But indeed, they had the best chance, Shamrock Rovers, even with 10 men. Good football, counter-attack again. Johnny Kenny does well. He gets through between the two defenders, takes a touch. The keeper sells himself a little bit, in my opinion. He comes out right to the edge of the area and is more or less on his hunkers. Kenny gets far too much contact on it. He'll be disappointed with the finish. A little dink. And of course, easier for us to say a little dink and it's a goal. But I just know Johnny Kenny's qualities. He's more than capable of putting that in the net, I can tell you. He'll be a little disappointed. It's a heavy shot rather than a little dink. Didn't even need a lob, just a dink, the way the keeper set himself. Maybe Kenny wasn't too sure. Maybe he felt the defenders were closer and he wasn't sure at the keeper going down like that. I'm not too sure, but what a chance that was. Would have been great to get a 1-0 lead, bring a 1-0 lead to Tallaght Stadium, wouldn't it? Did a couple of chances at the end, a header that went wide after that in injury time. But overall, Shamrock Rovers will be very pleased with this result, and I've no doubt that the thought process coming into this game would be to get to Tallaght Stadium with a chance here. Now, they're going to have to come out a little bit more at Tallaght Stadium. They don't have to go gung-ho or anything like that. They can set up reasonably similarly, I think, to be honest with you. Maybe Kenny should start because I think he can stretch the game a little better than Green at this stage of Green's career. And he is their top scorer this season, so Kenny may well start that game. But I won't talk too much about that fixture. We'll talk about that more so in the prediction show. But yeah, very satisfactory for me for Shamrock Rovers to go there and get a 0-0 draw. And it does give them an opportunity going into the second leg. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you watched the game or if you're a Shamrock Rovers fan, or even indeed if you're at the game. Now, On Thursday, we had two Conference League fixtures, and we spoke in the prediction show how we were confident that Derry City would get a result over in Gibraltar against Bruno's Magpies. Finished third in their league last year, 17 points off St. Joseph's, by the way, who played Shelbourne. We'll get on to that next, obviously, but goal from Taylor on 49 and Ziniku on 82 minutes gave the home side a very good win, to be fair, from their point of view. And, we spoke about the heat a little bit, 30-degree heat over there. Yes, of course, it is a factor. Absolutely, it is a factor. But I still think it's a disappointing result for Derry City. Magpies are still in their pre-season. Yes, they had no footage of the opposition. But my attitude was, I think I predicted 1-0. My attitude was, in my head was, it's going to be warm over there. Dundalk drew 0-0 over there last year and came back and won 3-1 at Oriel. Go over there and make sure you don't get a result that you feel puts them in serious jeopardy of going out. And I think this result puts them in serious jeopardy of going out. We'll talk about it again in the prediction show about the second leg. But regarding this game, disappointing. They do have a bit of a mountain to climb, or a rock to climb, I should say, really. Should really get my code after that one. But, you're 1-0 down. There's 10 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, they conceded a second. For me, I think you have to go there in the heat and just dig in. You know what I mean? Give ourselves a chance. Kind of like Shamrock Rovers did over in Iceland to a degree. If it has to be ugly, if it has to be dirty, if we don't create too many chances, we come out of here and we're confident we're going to beat them at home in the Brandywell and go through. At worst, minimum I felt, at worst come out with a 1-goal defeat. So 2-goal defeat is very disappointing. The Derry City fans, I know, weren't impressed. They were booing them actually at the final whistle. Now, I didn't see any of the games, so I only talked to a few Derry fans, that kind of thing, and they do feel that they were poor despite the fact, the heat, etc., etc. And Rory Higgins himself came out after the match and, he agreed, really. He seemed to agree with the fans that, it wasn't good enough, basically. It wasn't good enough. As I said, they can still put it right. They do have a rock to climb in the second leg, though. But I think that's a very, very disappointing result to go there, despite the heat, and lose 2-0. Dig in. And come away with a 1-goal defeat at worst. Even with 10 minutes to go there. They obviously conceded 8 minutes to go. You're 1-0 down. Think to yourself, whatever happens here, if we get a goal, great. Whatever happens, do not concede a second goal, lads. Do not concede a second goal. We fancy your chances at the Brandywell in the second leg, even with a goal defeat. Do not concede a second goal. So it's very disappointing. I think. Dundalk went through against these guys last year as well. I know there's some different players as well, but the level isn't going to be much higher, is it? Let's be real. And that Derry City side is better than the Dundalk side of last year. In fact, they've added with Houben, for example, and obviously Houben scored in that game at Oriel Park. But yeah, disappointing game from Derry City. Let me know what you think in the comments again. Derry City fan, did you go over to the game? If you did, how disappointing was it? And how good did you think Magpies were, to be honest, compared to, say, League of Ireland teams? Let me know in the comments. Now, the second Conference League game was obviously Shelbourne up against St. Joseph's at Talca Park, where Shelbourne won by 2-1. And I was at this game for a start, and, it was a great occasion, absolutely brilliant occasion. Vlogged the game as well. If you haven't seen the matchday vlog, check that back as well. Great atmosphere at Talca Park. They hadn't had a European game in 18 years. They've the best unbeaten run now of any Irish club at home, with unbeaten record, I should say, in Europe. Shelbourne as well. I think it's 8 games, is it? Without defeat at home in Europe. But I should have checked that for sure before I came on. But yeah, a cracking atmosphere, unbelievable atmosphere. Brilliant that they got the win as well. I thought they looked a much better side in St. Joseph's, if I'm honest. I think I talked about it in the matchday vlog, but that's always instant, But when you have a few days to think about it, it's a good result. First of all, they won the game. To be fair, they won the game, so they take a lead over to Gibraltar, and they'll be looking at Derry City's result, of course, away from home as well. Joseph's did finish ahead of Derry in the league, ahead of Magpies, Bruno Magpies in the league. Wanfrey, their star striker, came on as a sub in this game, and he's expected to start the next game, so something Shells have to keep an eye on. As I said, it'll be warm over there, etc. Again, we'll get on to that in the prediction show. But as for this game, yeah, I thought It was a decent Shells performance. I didn't think it was a brilliant Shells performance. I think they deserved to win the game. Obviously, the goal in the first minute from Mark Coyle sent Tolka into raptures, didn't it? And after that, I thought in the first half they controlled the game without really penetrating. I think they were a little bit too conservative, I thought, because I thought Josephs were there for the taking. They didn't look very fit, in my personal opinion, say Josephs. They didn't look fit. They are in the pre-season. They didn't look fit at all. They didn't have many threats. And their goal came on 40 minutes. Now, I know a lot of people said suspicion of a handball here, and there is suspicion of a handball. But Chelsea be disappointed, first of all. First corner they conceded. And they conceded the goals, missed at the front post, gets to the back post, ends up in the net. Now, I didn't see too many protests for a handball, and not many Shells players were looking for a handball. And I know the fans certainly weren't either, but it was hard to see. But I did see the replay in motion, and it hits him here. It's more the shoulder, to be honest with you. And I think that's realised. I think if it's anywhere below the sleeve is seen more as a handball, but he nudges it with the shoulder. So as far as I'm aware, that goal is actually fine. It's fine. So look, it was disappointing from Shelbourne's point of view to concede right in half time. As I said, the control the first half just didn't penetrate. And I just think when you've Jarvis, Smith and Burt, the opportunities there to get the ball to them maybe a little bit quicker and see if they can penetrate and score again. Second half, penalty, Jarvis, 58 minutes. Definite penalty for fouling John Martin. And Will Jarvis tucks it away. It was a brilliant penalty. And after that, for about 10 minutes-ish, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, Shelbourne played with a good tempo. And when they played with a good tempo in little patches, they looked like they could put them to the sword. And they had little opportunities there. I thought Ali Coote made a good impression when he came on. But the little opportunities there, balls into the box and stuff like that, where, you know, maybe the pass wasn't the best and stuff, but you felt like they could get a third. I felt watching that they could get a third. And then in the last, I don't know, let me check here actually for sure. When did Sam Bone come on? Exactly. Sam Bone, no, he didn't come on till late, to be fair. He didn't come on till late, but even so, he came on in the 89th minute for Will Jarvis. But still, that told you that, you know what I mean, Duff was thinking 2-1 grand. But I did feel they were there for the taking at that point of the game, around the time they were putting them under a bit of pressure, that 10-15 minute spell. I thought, look, Shells keep going like this, they look like they're tiring more. They can get a third here, definitely. And then just for the last 20 minutes, they went conservative again, and even more so conservative. They went conservative without the ball this time, and just let Josephs have the ball. And Josephs never really looked like scoring again in the game, to be honest, at all. And even when Shelbourne were putting them under pressure, it's not as if you felt like, when Shelbourne were really going at them, it's not as if you felt like Josephs, yeah, but they could be dangerous here in the counter-attack. You never saw that. I never felt that. I don't think they had enough pace in their team, to be honest. As I said in the prediction show, they're an aging team as well. So I hope it wasn't a missed opportunity for Shelbourne to go and get that third, and I hope it doesn't prove costly in the second leg, basically. If they're going through, you'll say, fine, no bother, done. But there was an opportunity to make it 3-1, I felt. They'd be happy with the win. But for me, I don't know what Shelbourne fans think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, you're delighted with the win. But did you feel there was an opportunity missed to maybe get a third here and put them under serious pressure going into the second leg? Because, you know, whereas they had no interest nearly going to get a third, I don't think they had the capability, to go and get a second goal in the game, Josephs. I don't really think they have the capability in the way the game was going. So, let me know what you think in the comments. But at the end of the day, Shelbourne, they got the win, and hopefully they can finish the job next week. Now, Friday, onto the Premier Division fixtures, and I'm going to finish with Dundalk and Drogheda because I have a bit to say about that and what happened at the end of the game as well. But I'm going to finish with that. I'll start at Daleyman Park, where Bohemians had a very disappointing from their point of view. Obviously, 2-0 defeat at home to Sligo Rovers. 1 win and 11 for Bows. I'll get into Sligo in a minute. Very disappointing from Bows. Very disappointing. As I said, 1 win and 11. You know, you look at the league table now, and they're 8th in the league and 26 points. Yes, they've games in hand. But how many of those games in hand are going to win? I believe 2 of the games in hand, for example. They've 3 games in hand with Pats, for example. But they've 2 on Dundalk, Drogheda and Sligo, for example. So I believe the 2 games in hand, one is definitely against Shelbourne and one possibly against Shamrock Rovers. How many points are Bows going to maximise out of them? 3 at the most, you would say? At the most, you would say 3 points? And that's probably pushing it, isn't it? Let's be real. I think so. I don't know. They've brought in a new set of players again, and we look again. We don't know how good they're going to be. We're going to have a look at that, aren't we, later down the line? But in fairness to them, they did create some chances in the game. I think James Clark forces a brilliant save from Ed McGinty, who's been the best goalkeeper in the league this season, no debate. Absolutely brilliant save from Ed McGinty, and the amount of points he has saved Sligo is unreal. But a big player for them this season has been Ellis Chapman. What a sign he was. Initially signed on loan, quickly changed to permanent. What a sign he's been. A brilliant pass. Good move, actually, for Sligo to take the lead in 36 minutes. It was a lovely weighted pass to Warwood, who does well. Gets between both defenders. Good touch. First touch is crucial, isn't it, always? Kind of feints a little bit to take a shot and just rounds Turецka and gives him a 1-0 lead. And, you know, both teams did have chances in the game, in fairness. As I said, McGinty forced a brilliant save. Simon Perr later on, he got a couple of good goals lately, but Simon Perr's 1-on-1 with the keeper, just balloons it over the bar. Does it take a bobble? I don't think it does, personally. It's a poor finish, isn't it, from Simon Perr? That could have been costly, because Dale Rooney had a chance near the end where Panacker does brilliantly, actually, to get a block onto it, but you know, I think Panacker coming back in the team has given them a steady influence. I've said it before, Panacker gets on any team in the League of Ireland. And as I said, Chapman's been excellent this season, chipping in with a lot of goals. He's the top scorer as well. He's a midfield player, really. He breaks into the box. I love a midfield player like that. It's hard to find them. And the goal at the end is comical, isn't it? It's probably the worst goal I've seen conceded in a long time. Let's be real. Declan McDaid with, how do I say this nicely? Look, there's no point. There's a pathetic free kick from McDaid. Doesn't lift it. Very poor. The reaction then from Bowes players after that, I mean, they're like statues. If you look at it, I think the referee, Neil Doyle, his movement is better than the Bowes defending for that goal. Chapman just picks it up, dribbles a little bit, steadies himself and takes a shot, and it dribbles into the net from his own halfway line. Still takes a bit to do that, by the way. A lot of people might have went for power and ballooned that, so good composure from Chapman. You have to give him credit. He takes it well all the same. Turецka was obviously up for the corner, actually, in case you're wondering why he took a shot and dribbled into an empty net. He went up for the corner. It was pretty much the last kick of the game. That's fine, no problem there. But McDade's delivery, and I believe Dale Rooney, let me check this, was Dale Rooney still on the pitch? Dale Rooney was still on the pitch. You're looking, it's from the right hand side, you're thinking a left footed in swinger. Dale Rooney's got good delivery, and even if he hits a bad delivery, he's not hitting a delivery like that. If you haven't seen it, go back and check the highlights. They're on FAI TV and you'll know what I'm talking about. But from a Bowes point of view, absolutely dreadful stuff that. And from a Sligo point of view, 3 great wins in a row, 3 fantastic wins in a row, and you look at them in the table now, they had a good start to the season. I was impressed with Sligo at the start of the season. And then I was a little bit surprised when they started to go down the table, if I'm honest with you. But they had this issue whereby there were a few players missing, and I thought maybe their squad depth was weaker than most, and that killed them. But then Panacker back in the team. You got Chapman there, Power back in, Mallon as well back in, and of course Mallon was sent off as well. I think that was harsh, by the way. I know he tries to tug Ross Tierney a little bit, but he's on a yellow, I understand that. He does tuck Ross Tierney just slightly, but then he lets go very quickly, and Tierney's still away, so it's not as if he's stopping his momentum. I think the referee could have given a foul there rather than giving a second yellow card and send him off. But keep him fit, and he's a very good sign for Sligo. Stephen Mallon as well, good player to watch. But yeah, Sligo flying. I mean, they're back in the hunt for Europe. They're 3 points off third place, which is Waterford FC. You know, they're back in the hunt 100% for Europe, and a great result for Sligo Rovers. Let me know what you think in the comments, Bowes or Rovers fans. Galway United won, Waterford FC 0. And myself and JP predicted Galway would win. They're a bogey team. They're a bogey team for Waterford. They can't handle them at all, can they? But that puts Galway back in the race now as well. Galway 3 points behind Waterford with a game in hand too. And the American Patrick Hickey, who signed from Athlone in pre-season, scored after 23 minutes. And, you know, Waterford didn't deal with the throw-in, a bit like Bowes the other week there. Waterford didn't deal with the throw in. It's a throw in. Walsh does well, knocks it back, and Hickey finishes to the net. The problem is, though, with these throw ins and set pieces that Galway often launch at you, you could defend them 9 times out of 10 brilliantly, but the one time you don't, it could be a goal. So it's brilliant what they do. They're experts in what they do, and they can play a bit of football, and they can play in the counter-attack. I've seen them play good counter-attacking football as well. But they're playing to a style that works for them, and I love seeing that. I love seeing different styles, and particularly that works for them. It's an element of Leicester City under Martin O'Neill, and there's an element of the crazy gang and etc. etc. And look, I love that. Like, they're tough to beat. They're hard, tough men. They're big. They're athletic. They're strong. And Waterford in this game had a lot of the ball in the second half without really causing any serious problems in the game. The one chance they had, though, was Pádraig Gammon too. He's just unlucky. It's a good strike. It hits the bar. He's just unlucky. It's one of them. And they would have taken a point big time. I think they would have been taking a point coming up here because of the gap it would have imposed in Galway as well. But, you know, a couple of injuries for them as well, Waterford as well. They've come into the equation too. So, you know, that's something that they'd have to look at. Evans came back into the side for this game, and, you know, Asamoah and Patterson missing there too. So Bagley still missing as well, and Andy McDonald. So, or Rowan McDonald, I should say. McDonald was missing for this game. So, you know, that's the only thing with Waterford. I think they look a good side, a good bet for top 4, but you can depend on injuries, particularly when there isn't much between the teams in the league. The injury factor, suspension-injury factor, could really come into effect this year. And it's a good race at the moment when you look at the European race, because if you look at just simply third at the moment, you've obviously got, if you just want to count third and not fourth yet, because we won't know until the Cup, you're looking at Waterford, you're looking at Galway, Sligo and Shamrock Rovers in serious contention. I'd rule out Pats, Bows and obviously Dundalk and Drogheda clearly. But there's a good race there, I think. There's a good race there, and Galway are certainly in amongst that race, and fair play to them. Whereas Waterford have been a breath of fresh air in one way, I think Galway have been a breath of fresh air in a different way in this league this season as well. So fair play to Galway United. Cracking win there. And, you know, Waterford will be looking to bounce back. It's a defeat. They're still in amongst it. It's no big deal from their point of view. Yeah, finally, is the big one. Matchday vlog out in this. Check that out if you haven't checked it out already. It's at Oriel Park. Massive game. I'll talk about the fighting of the game at the end of this, but I just want to talk about the game first. 6 goals at Oriel Park. Dundalk 4, Drogheda United 2. Jade Hikiki scoring on 8. Ryan O'Kane in 16 minutes gave Dundalk a 2-0 lead. Douglas James Taylor in 36 with a good header after good work from Darren Markey. Daryl Horgan 55 and 85, and then a penalty right at the end from Douglas James Taylor, make it 4-2. It's funny, I was saying coming up to the game, I'm not sure if I said it in the video or not, I can't remember, but I was saying it to Billy that Dundalk need to get more from Ryan O'Kane and Horgan, and they certainly did in this game. They're capable of scoring more goals. Horgan scored 1 goal in the league before this, 2 obviously that night, and Ryan O'Kane was good and caused problems. Young Billy gave him man the match. Hikiki was excellent, I felt, as well, and Robbie Benson in the middle apart from Dundalk. I thought Dundalk were good value, full value for the win, actually. I thought they came out like a steam train, apart from the goals even. Drogheda didn't have too many spells in the game. They had a little spell, of course, after they scored. There was a ball played through and Markey just couldn't get on the end of it, for example. But overall, I thought Dundalk played good intensity, good urgency, a lot better than Drogheda. And Drogheda continued to struggle in terms of conceding goals. Some of the defending is abysmal. It really is. I honestly think Andrew Wogan as well. I know it's the 4th goal, but it doesn't matter if it's the first or 4th goal, in my opinion. He has to do better with that. You know, he's got to move to Stockport, and he's a young goalkeeper. But for me, he's a lot of improvement to do. You know, you can be potential, but he's a long way to go for me. I don't think he's been top-notch this season by any means for Drogheda, but their defending certainly hasn't been top-notch, has it? It's been very poor, and it's costing them badly. You know, they're now 10th in the league. They're 5 points behind Dundalk, and they've won 3 games all season out of 24. It's a big jump for them to go and overturn that for me. And Dundalk look like they're improving slowly. They look like they're more likely to catch someone ahead of them than they are to be caught by Drogheda, if I'm honest with you. And this game, for me, seal that thought in my head. And look, it was, as I said, it was a very good performance overall from Dundalk, and they had a number of opportunities. They could have scored more goals in many ways as well, and they played with good urgency. Now, some of those players are consistent, we know that, but massive, massive win for Dundalk. And to get the 4 goals as well, because they've only scored 17 this season. They've only scored 17 this season, and they'd be delighted because they missed a lot of players. Like, they had a new backline, really. Goddard played in goal. Faulkner was a new player in there. Like, that was a patched up defence in many ways. Mountney at right back. He can't play right back, of course he can. Keogh at left back. And he makes one at centre back with Faulkner. That's a patch up defence and a goalkeeper in Goddard. Now, of course, they did concede 2 goals. But, maybe that was in their thinking as well, that, what I mean, we might struggle defensively in this game, so we need to get in the front foot. And they did get in the front foot. Benson and Hikiki, I thought, were really good in middle park. Horgan played well, of course, as well. And Ryan O'Kane was very good too. And it was a deserved win, fully deserved win. Atmosphere was electric at Oriel Park, and I'll get on to that later on. But, a couple of debuts. Obviously, James Taylor does look good for Drogheda, I have to say. 3 goals in 2 games. But general play looks good as well. But I just can't see, with the goals they concede, how they don't continue to concede the goals. I really don't. And I think they're in big, big trouble now. Big, big trouble, unfortunately, for them. As for Dundalk, in their heads, they should be looking up and saying, can we catch a Pats? Can we catch a Bows? Can we do it? The games when they play them are going to be huge, aren't they? So that's the way they should be looking at it. Now, on to the end of the game, the scenes at the end of the game. And I spoke about this on Instagram Live, but I understand a lot of people that watch the YouTube mightn't see the Instagram, etc., etc. And I was appalled by it. I seen it live. I didn't take any video footage. I didn't want to do that. It's not my scene to make match day vlogs and promote crap like that. But obviously, I have to talk about it, and I have talked about it in the Instagram Live, and highly unimpressed I was. Because the atmosphere was electric throughout, from the home fans and the away fans. Great display, home fans, great display, away fans. Cracking derby, 6 goals. Obviously, Drogheda to be disappointed with their performance and the results. I get that. But a spectacle, and it was ruined, marred by the end of the game. I don't know what's going to happen in the cup game now. There's rumours that it might be changed to 1 o'clock on Saturday. But we had people giving out that this fixture was on Bank Holiday Monday, 1 o'clock, etc., etc., and that the scenes at the end didn't help that. Since I did the Instagram Live, I found out that a young girl, I think she was a ball girl, but irrespective of that, only 12, swollen jaw and a black eye from the incident as well. And you could imagine the fear in that girl, probably worse. The fear probably is worse than the black eye, if you like, and the swollen jaw. We can't have that. We cannot have that. Banter, yes. Slagging off, yes. Even hatred, yes. But to be running across the pitch, like the Drogs fans did, towards the shed end at Dundalk, to start a fight is not good enough. And I'll be honest, some of the Dundalk fans did come on once the Drogheda fans made their way across the pitch. And to be honest, I think that was a good thing, because they would have got into the shed, and that would have been bigger problems. If they got into the shed, which is the Dundalk home section, ultra section, that would have been a bigger problem, and they would have got in as well. Now, I know there are fans over from Belgium as well, ultras over from Belgium, something else I don't like in this league at times, which can egg the situation on, because they come over in their off season for one reason over only. And ultras, I'm talking about ultras, and that's to start fights. No skin off their nose, doesn't do anything to them. They can go hop off in the plane, never come back again if they like. But this doesn't do Drogheda United any good, doesn't do the club any good. They're going to get fines. They're enough to worry about with on the pitch stuff as it is. They're going to, we don't know what's going to happen. The game might be Saturday. It could even be behind closed doors. Who knows? That's a possibility as well. But there needs to be bans handed out here, and proper bans, not token gesture bans, because that's not good enough. It's not good enough. And even me as a vlogger for what I do personally do as a vlogger, and that's vlog games to catch the atmosphere, catch all the good that there is in League of Ireland. Personally, I think I do a good job of that. But I can only do a good job of that if the fans are good. If fans are creating a great atmosphere, etc., etc., all I'm doing is highlighting what they're doing. So ultras do fantastic work overall. They do great work, and the Drogheda ultras have been brilliant. The last couple of years, I've given them serious credit, and I've probably more than anyone else in the whole country, in the whole league, honestly. They recently did a fundraiser around Christmas time for women that get abused and kids, etc., and done a great job in that and made money on a fundraiser. But there'd be kids in the stand, and there'd be, people in the stand that would have had fear from that kind of action. So it just contradicts the whole thing. I know for a start, and I didn't say this at the end of the vlog much because Billy was with me, and didn't say it on Instagram Live because Billy was with me. But I know he won't watch this, so I can say this. I could see fear in Billy's eyes, and he's 12. There were younger kids in there as well, and elderly people, by the way. I could see fear in Billy's eyes, and he was backtracking a bit, and he was like, "Dad, can we go?" We can't have that, guys. We really can't have that. Do your slagging, do your bits and pieces, etc., etc. You can hate each other all you like, but to be coming on the pitch trying to act the hard man and start fights and trouble, it's not good enough. It's not good enough, and it's not what your fan base is about. It's not what your ultra group is about, etc., etc. Any ultra group, I should say, for that matter, is about. And it just tarnishes good work that ultra groups do. It really does tarnish it. And as I said, a young girl did get injured. If you think that's right, then you've no place at a football ground. You really don't. And there was a minute silence observed for a young girl who I believe she was 13, certainly in around that age, who died in a football pitch in Termonfeckin and Louth a couple of days there before. And there was a brilliant minute silence observed by both sets of fans, including the Dundalk fans. And it's just so disappointing. I'm personally very disappointed by it because, as I said, I've given the Drogheda in particular fans great praise over the last few years, and I'm very disappointed by it. And who does it impress? Nobody. It doesn't do anybody any good. I mean, there was talk about provocation, just always provocation between fans. Come on, get a grip. And that's all I have to say in it, guys. That's all I have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about any of these incidents, any of the games. Subscribe to the channel, please, if you haven't subscribed already. It means a lot. And have a good day. We'll see you later. Go on. Bye.